All right, so I guess Etsy just came out with some more SEO news, updates, whatever you want to call it. They actually did this in their Etsy Up. And well, to share this with us, I've got Mr. Chris Schaefer here, and he is going to be sharing it with us, but also playing a couple clips from the Etsy Up so we can actually hear it from Etsy themselves. So Chris, what do we got?
So if you aren't aware of what Etsy Up is, it's their digital seller conference that they do every year. It's essentially a way to get all of the Etsy sellers together and let them know some of the things that are changing on the platform and give them a little bit more information. They covered a lot of different things, mostly around some of the new features. There wasn't anything revolutionary in the vast majority of Etsy Up. So if you haven't watched it yet, if you want to turn it on in the background, you can, but you're not going to miss a whole lot, except for the few nuggets that we were able to pull out, Scott, related to how their algorithm works. And I think the easiest way to do this, I pulled two clips where they talk about some things that they're either using currently or will potentially be using in the future that sellers are going to want to be aware of. And you know that they launched that new listing visibility dashboard. They launched their new customer service score type of thing. And so a lot of people have been asking us, hey, when does this go into effect? Is it hitting right now? They're saying October 1st for some of these things, but is it already in effect? Like the $6 shipping change? What's going on? Have they made any changes? So that's really what you and I were looking for when we were digging through this. But I think right out of the horse's mouth, the first thing is going to be this. And there's a few things that I want you to take a look at here, Scott, and I want to get your opinion here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maxwell, and I lead Etsy's search and ads teams. The core of my work is helping buyers find their perfect item while ensuring sellers have ample opportunities for growth. I was a part of the team that brought the new Etsy search visibility page in Shop Manager to life, and I'm so excited to tell you more about it today. When shoppers are searching on Etsy, it's important that they can easily find quality listings from shops they can trust. This is what makes them come back to Etsy again and again. That's why Etsy Search currently takes into account your shop, listing, and customer service quality. One thing we frequently hear from sellers is that you want more transparency about what goes into Etsy Search so that you can improve how your listings appear. This new page does exactly that, by showing you how your listings are performing, along with personalized recommendations for how to improve. It's an easy way for you to know if you're meeting buyer expectations, so you can help improve your visibility. Let's take a closer look. The Etsy Search visibility page, which you can access through Shop Manager, will show you how your listings are performing in the areas of your shop, listing, and customer service quality. Let's dig into each of these. First up is your shop. It's important that a buyer knows who they're purchasing from to help build trust. For example, your shop should have a shop icon, which helps to represent your business. These details are important because it helps the buyer understand who you are and what goes into your shop, business, and the products you make. All of this helps to further establish a trusting relationship and increase transparency. This is a great spot to showcase everything special about your business. Next is customer service. As an Etsy seller, you work hard to create a smooth and trusted experience for your customers. Great customer service is key to building trust and to help make sure you're giving buyers a positive experience. This is what will make them buy from your shop again and recommend it to others. That's why shops that consistently meet our customer service standards, like average review rating or message response rate, are prioritized in search. Here are some ways to help encourage positive reviews. Shipping orders on time and making sure the processing times you give are accurate, responding quickly to combos and reaching out to the buyer if there's an issue with their order, and exceeding your customers' expectations with nice touches, like a handwritten thank you note. We'll review your customer service performance and let you know if your shop is meeting customer service standards on the first of each month. The third area is your listings. When shoppers are searching on Etsy, it's important that they can easily find high-quality listings. Each of your listings should include details like multiple high-quality photos and a return policy to help buyers feel confident about making a purchase. The Etsy Search visibility page shows you all the opportunities you have to optimize your shop and listings to help you show up more in search. Let's take a look at a few examples. If some of your listings are missing a return policy, you can click into this insight and quickly add them to your listings. You don't have to offer returns or exchanges on your items unless it's required where you live. It just lets buyers know that your policy is to not accept returns or exchanges, so it's clear to them before they make a purchase. Etsy buyers have consistently told us that quality photos are critical when they're deciding to make a purchase. So having multiple high-quality photos of your items could make all the difference in landing the sale. When determining the quality of photos, we look at things like lighting and resolution to make sure buyers are seeing clear images. We know it takes time and care to create quality photos, so if you notice that you have several listings to update, don't worry. This page is also available in the Etsy Seller app, which makes it easy to upload photos directly from your phone. Ready to get started? Head to the new Etsy Search Visibility page in your Shop Manager to see how your listings are doing. We'll show you personalized actions you can take to help your items get in front of even more buyers. The Etsy Search Visibility page is just one of the ways we're helping you get the insights you need about your shop so that you can make the best decisions for your business. Taking our recommended actions could help you reach even more shoppers and make more sales. Thanks for joining me today.
Okay. Oh,
What about now? Funk Soul Brother, check it out now. At a base level, we knew all about that page, right? We've already known that they're making those recommendations. Listening to him there, Scott, and I've gotten the chance to hear a few different times now that message. What were some of the things that you took away from that beyond just the fact that that page exists? What are they telling you that you should be doing to rank higher in the algorithm? Did you catch any of those?
yeah. I think the one that stood out was like your shop itself. Like they want you to have like a shop image. They want you to basically complete everything and make it all filled out, but they also want transparency of like who's behind the business. So instead of having like a funny cartoon character as your profile picture, they want it to be you. Your logo, they want it to be representing your company. They want a banner image. Like they want everything filled out to make it look legit. It's not like you just set up shop and you threw up a cardboard sign, right? That's kind of what I took away there, which I think is, it's what we've been saying forever, right? Like treat it like it's a real business and start filling everything out. I think customer service, that has been standard. I mean, yes, they're saying that that's important, but I'll be honest with you, Chris, like what I just heard there, I didn't hear anything new. They're just bringing that stuff to the surface. But what I would have liked to have heard more of is like keywords. Like, tell me more about keywords. Tell me more about sales. Tell me more about reviews. What they're telling me is like, we want a return policy so people feel like they have a way to get something returned. Okay, great. Right? That's basic stuff. Right? Tell us some stuff that actually makes the algorithm move. They're telling us like basic surface level, like to me, common sense things anyway. And they're putting it into your dashboard now to say, oh, if you put your return policy now, we'll show you more. You know what? I bet you if I didn't have a return policy, but I was getting 50 sales a day, I bet you I'm still going to outperform the one that's got the return policy. Just saying. Am I wrong, Chris? I'm a little annoyed by that because that thing didn't tell anybody anything new.
And I think comparing that to last year's session on SEO at Etsy Up, where they did a Q&A about myths and like, how important are tags? Oh my God, here's all of the way that we use tags. It was a lot more transparent last year, but they have a new feature, which is kind of cool. The thing I took away from that, Scott, I'm looking at this through the lens of the other things that we've heard in the past. And what we know their goal is twofold. One, they want sellers to have a better understanding of what they're doing right and wrong in the eyes of the algorithm without saying the information that you and I would want, which is like, if you have 5 pictures, you get a boost of 4, right? Or whatever it is, because that's gameable. But what they're trying to do is give people a little bit more insight because they know no one, except for me, for whatever reason, reads through all of the different SEO documentation in the seller handbook and pieces those things together. I took away a few different things. But the lens that I think we need to look at this through is the difference between the old algorithm and where they want to move with.
Yeah.
Right now, the old algorithm is based on 2 things: search and buyer intent, right? Whether or not you're likely to convert, what you and I talk about in terms of traffic and conversion. What they want to move to is something more like YouTube, which is still going to be heavily reliant on conversions, but also suggestions that they can rely on. Yeah. And if we listen to what Josh Silverman said in some of the other clips that you and I have found recently, basically what he's saying is we're looking for some metrics that indicate quality experience from the buyers. The thing he mentioned there I thought was interesting. Good customer service and having a good customer service score actually does lead to a boost. We've said in the past, they say star seller didn't. So if you look at the handbook, it says star seller doesn't. It appears that the new score, whether it affected it in the past or not as the individual things, that new score, your customer service score, does have a direct impact. Why? Because it's helping them move towards the, I know this shop is reliable. If I suggest something that somebody might like from this shop, I know that that's going to be important. The other thing, and this is something you and I harp on all the time, was the emphasis on images and image quality.
Yeah.
And they showed off some features inside of the Etsy seller app that will make it a lot easier for people. Why do they place such a heavy emphasis on image and image quality?
I mean, images are like one of the main things that is going to determine if you're going to buy or not, or even just click. So your main image is going to be very important because that's going to get the click. When someone comes into the listing, it's going to be more of them looking through the images and seeing if there's something that they had a concern with, or if they got a little closer look of it, or maybe it's the quality. And then that's just a conversion piece. So that to me is like, we're all visual, right? Like we want to see, we can't actually go there and pick it up and look underneath
any
it
method to the third factor in the
and all of that. So that's why to me, that's so important, because they have found also, like with good images, it's going to increase conversions. And that's why they've built that into their app now, that if you load a picture in, they've got like sliders to brighten it and sharpen it and do all those things, because they know they have to make it easier for people to make their images better.
Yeah, so I'd say there's a couple key takeaways here. One, we have to look at this and think about where they're moving with the algorithm.
Yep.
People have always said, just like they said up until Etsy up last year, we still get comments about it. Tags don't matter on Etsy. The thing we hear all the time is your shop doesn't matter. It's an individual listing game. And while that is important right now, they are very clearly moving to a place where they're going to be more and more reliant on the information in the shop. And if you read through some of the minutia, the small print details on the new customer service dashboard documentation, essentially what they're saying is, if your policies aren't completely filled out, there's a potential penalty or not a boost, right? Because they don't penalize anybody. They just boost, right? If you don't have your shop title filled out, which is not the name, it's that little subtitle, which is confusing nomenclature, but Etsy, that could potentially be a problem. And if you don't have the about section filled out, that could potentially be an issue. Now, you should be doing all of those things anyway, because it impacts conversion rate. But we've seen now over the last 2 or 3 weeks that they're coming out again and again and putting a lot of emphasis on that. So don't think your shop doesn't matter. We've seen from the Etsy buyer survey, your shop absolutely matters to your customer. Now, Etsy is telling us it does matter from a search engine optimization perspective. The thing number 2 that was a bigger takeaway from me here is that they are going to be using that customer service experience as a boost. Again, if you're giving a poor experience, they're not saying they're penalizing you. You just don't get the bonus points. I'm not sure how that works, but it is what it is. It's important now, but it's going to be even more important moving forward when they start moving towards that suggestion conversion versus the search and conversion algorithm. The last thing is, and this is something you and I harp on all the time, there's a heavy emphasis on image and image quality. So if you're not getting your images right, you're not looking at what's working in your space, you're leaving a lot of money on the table from a conversion rate standpoint. But Etsy's also saying you're leaving a lot of potential impressions on the table if you're not filling that out the way that they suggest that you fill that out. And I know a lot of sellers have gotten some notifications saying, hey, this looks like a bundle, whatever. They may not actively be using those flags now to not prioritize you in the listings or in the search, but that will be something that's rolled out if it's not rolled out already. So if you can address those images, start with your top sellers, take advantage of this kind of grace period that we have right now before it really kicks into full force, and take the advice that Etsy is giving you, because what they're saying is they're trying to be more transparent. They can't be 100% transparent in the way that Scott and I would want them to be transparent, the way that you want them to be transparent, but they're trying to give us at least a little bit of insight to say, hey, our like AI, which is really in charge of this algorithm, flag this image. You might want to change it. That's probably a good sign that you should change it. It doesn't mean we always take their advice, but it's at least something we need to take into consideration. Scott, there was one other nugget that I pulled out that I thought was intriguing. And in terms of something that may have a future impact on the search algorithm. So if you give me 1 second here, I should be able to pull that up here for us.
Customer service stats page, and that's on-time shipping and tracking. To help meet buyers' expectations and needs, it's important to fulfill and ship orders on time. Etsy's service standard is to ship at least 80% of orders on time within the review period. Shipping on time means your order is handed off to a shipping partner and you've marked it as complete on Etsy by your order's ship by date. This factor doesn't affect your search ranking right now, but it's still important to meet this standard to give buyers a positive experience.
Did you catch that little slip right there?
No, I didn't. What did you Highlight that.
Hitting your on-time shipping doesn't affect your search ranking right now. And then she moved right on. What does that imply? That means it will impact your search ranking.
Yeah. Okay.
In
Yeah.
the future.
So she's saying,
Right.
she's basically saying like if you're shipped on time or not on time, it doesn't affect it now, but
Currently.
it will.
Right.
Right. She didn't say it will, but that's kind of what you're reading between the lines.
Yeah, that's the implication. And it makes sense when we look at the other things that they were talking about during Etsy Up. If they're moving more towards that suggestion algorithm, right? Suggestion plus conversion, which is how you would end up showing, then what are the things that they need to look at? Obviously, when somebody comes to your listing, they can look at the same things. But in making that recommendation to a potential buyer, what do they look at? If we look at what she's talking about, which is more on the customer service side of thing, and her session was more about the customer service dashboard, and we combine that with what the SEO team is telling us, although they say it wasn't important on the star seller side of things, now that they've rolled out this new experience, it is going to be something that we have to be conscious of. And I know there's a lot of sellers on Etsy, especially on the print on demand side, who don't necessarily put the tracking information and do everything the way that they should be doing within the Etsy ecosystem. Maybe they send it in a message, but they don't mark the order as shipped or whatever it is. It's an important thing to start to understand that this is going to be something that not only impacts how they rank your shop, but how they rank each individual listing moving forward. So if you can't keep up with demand, maybe we dial back on sales or ads or any of those kinds of things so that we can make sure we're hitting the customer service metrics, because that's going to become more and more important on the SEO side of things.